Hi everyone, it's Allie, and I do this thing where I think it comes from an old babysitter that I had who really liked the English beat. But when I have something in my mind that's 6 syllables long, I sing it to the tune of Mirror in the Bathroom, right? So here's an example. Kitty needs her nails cut, dun dun dun. Or taking out the garbage, dun dun dun. This all the time. I do this all the time. So this tarot tag is tarot in the bedroom. Da da da. So this came up randomly in my feed from actually a user I wasn't aware of before, Whiskey Stevens, who developed this tarot tag from a Twitter thread. So I'll link her original video below. And I was just like, why not? Why not talk about tarot in the bedroom? Even though this won't be a very salacious video, I thought it was a really interesting prompt. So the challenge is to go through the tarot deck and find 3 cards that you feel would be best to invite into your life, into a relationship, into your bedroom, and 2 that you would absolutely not do that with. And I was like, why the heck not? That sounds hilarious. And it was actually a really good, interesting exercise. So I'm kind of excited to talk about it. So the deck I'm going to be using, I've just really been jiving with my Rider Waite's lately. So the Tarot of A.E. Waite by AGM Urania. It's got the crackle-backs. It's just really nice line work. I like it. And I was just doing some work. The only downside to this deck is, let me find you a cup that's not giving anything away. A card. It doesn't have the calligraphy. Wah, wah. Other than that, it's pretty nice. Okay, so my 3 cards that I went through all of them and I looked and I really thought about it and I was like, who? And I should say too, I almost used the Light Seers for this. And then I almost used the Bone Stone. And then I almost used that Tattoo Tarot. I would say for the people pictured in them, those are definitely the sexiest decks that I own. Yeah, they really do it. Like some of the people in the Bone Stone and Earth Flash Tarot and the Light Seers Tarot are just so good looking. And I just find the Tattoo Tarot just the world's sexiest deck. I don't know why. But in the end, I decided not to because I thought it would be good to have a more universal image that people would recognize without having to read the titles as we go. And Tattoo Tarot is very pippy. So while the majors are illustrated and the courts are illustrated, the minors are not. So in the end, I was like, good old faithful Rider Waite Smith. I should start this off by saying that I am a cis-het woman, but I didn't really consider gender so much as just the general qualities of the cards. So it's not like I was looking, because I attracted to men in my life, I was just looking for male cards. It was more just the essence and the spirit of the card. That's how I did it. So, in no particular order, well, I don't know. So I thought I would start with the King of Wands. I'm really attracted to creative people, that creative spark and that creative energy, people who have a passion and see it through. But I want some maturity with it, right? The problem with the fire is that it can just burn so hot that it can damage things around it or burn out. And I feel like by the time we get to the king, he has both of that fire and that passion. But as you can see, this is kind of a dispassionate card in a way. He's looking to the side, not directly out. He's not like it's not like the Knight of Wands energy where it's just like go, 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 go all the time. I feel like he has mastered it and he is going to take that passion and take that fire, but also be sort of cognizant of the people around him. So that was why I chose the King of Wands. I think he'd be very passionate, but also just not a nutcase. So those are 2 things that I want in my tarot in my bedroom. My second choice, and if you've watched my channel for a while, this will not be a surprise to you. The Knight of Pentacles. Oh my God, I love the Knight of Pentacles. The Knight energy, generally speaking, is like super like forward moving and like that youthful, I mean, again, traditionally male, like exuberant, athletic energy, which is very appealing. But the Knight of Pentacles takes his time, right? Which is definitely what you want as well. In all aspects of a relationship, he's not hot-headed. He's not going to just go off. And it's funny because he's not mature like a king, but he brings with him an awareness and a quietness. And I always point out the fact that the Knight of Pentacles is on a draft horse, like a heavy workhorse. He's not on an Arabian steed that's built for speed. It's just about like getting the job done, which sounds hilarious when you talk about it in this particular bedroom context. But this is someone who's got maturity built into his age and his experience, but also that passionate fire remains. This is someone who's got youthful exuberance, but is like balanced and not gonna go off the deep end, thoughtful and considerate, and like the pentacles are of the earth, right? Like aware of where he comes from, and in my mind, like environmental sensibilities and understanding the repercussions of his actions. So he's not going to rush into anything without thinking it through first, whereas the other knights can be a little bit rush, which I also don't want in the bedroom or in any sort of part of my relationship. So I think that's I just love the Knight of Pentacles. It's probably my favorite of the court cards. Tough, but probably. I just love it so much. I love that combination of energies. And finally, for my bedroom card, I chose the Strength card. So this is, oh God, I've talked about the Strength card 1,000 times. I just love this card. The idea, the basics of the Strength card, that it's strength through confidence, quiet confidence and calm, and not force and overpowering, right? Like meeting things where they need to be met and gently guiding them in a way that's going to work for you, as opposed to punching your way through a problem, right? There are different kinds of strength, and this to me is a much more positive kind of strength. But I also think there's this interpretation, like in some decks, this is not the Strength card. This is the Lust card, right? Like in the Thoth deck. And I'm not a big, I don't know the Thoth deck very well. I have one. I never read with it. I'm going to get around to studying it one of these days. But I think it's really, if you take that interpretation of lust, right? There's a real like Beauty and the Beast archetype here, or this idea like if the lion is lust, right? This sort of primal animal instinct that we all have, right? And that we have to tamp down in different ways and societally and for appropriate situations and that kind of thing. Or maybe just because we're rejected or we're heartbroken or our advances are rejected by another person. We're always trying to like tame our basest human needs. That's just part of being human, right? Like we eat at appropriate times and we, use the bathroom instead of just defecating wherever we want. Like all of our primal needs, we figure out what the best way to manage those is. But there's like just such a tenderness and appreciation and love for it, right? So if the lion is lust, then she's looking at the lion and just like appreciating it and loving it as part of her and not ashamed of it, not again trying to force it into places it doesn't belong, just like gently guiding it. And I think in a society where we have so much shame about our desires and our physicality, what our bodies look like, right? What our faces look like, it just this sort of like our innermost desires, we're always trying to sort of tamp them down and just Instagram filter everything to death. This is like a real acknowledgement of this force in us that actually propagates the human species, so is super important, without trying to just like shove it down, acknowledging it, accepting it, it's part of you. How now are we going to move forward in the most productive way possible so that you are satisfied and people don't get hurt? And oh God, I could go on and on about, maybe one day I should just do an entire Strength card video. Would anybody watch it? Just listening to me just nerd out about the Strength card all day long. Anyway, I would totally do the Strength card. You can come into my bedroom anytime. Strength. Okay, and the final part of the challenge is, who do you not want to bring into the bedroom? And there's actually quite a few. I love the tarot, but there's a lot of characters and archetypes in here that just need to not be around me. And it's funny too, because immediately I was like, oh, the devil, right? So that's pretty obvious. But then I was like, maybe once, maybe twice. um, so I really did consider it thoughtfully and carefully. And so my two are actually kind of similar. But I decided on the first is the Fool. And I would not want to be in a relationship with a fool because the fool lacks experience, right? If I were 16, then maybe that would be perfect, right? I'm not 16, and I'm not looking to guide someone through their own experiences. Like, I want someone to meet me where I am in terms of experiences and worldview and life, and to come like as a fully formed human being into my life. So for that reason, while I may like know, kids in my life and people who are experiencing something new, and while I may love them and support them, that's not a role I want to play really in their life. So for that reason, sorry, fool, you're off my list. And my other one, again, I could have had a lot. It was good that they limited you to two because it would be a bunch. So I'd be like, not you either, really. But I thought the Eight of Swords was a good one. God, this is again one of the most powerful cards in the deck. When I do my Everything I've Learned From series, I'm almost always pulling out an Eight of Swords card because if I like the deck, it's probably because that's a good version of that card. But like, so the Eight of Swords, if you haven't worked with the tarot very much, right? The figure is blindfolded and bound and trapped in a ring of swords, but not really trapped. Like, there's a big wide opening that she could just get herself out of. The bindings don't go all the way down to her feet. She could just walk her way out. Sure, it'd be a little hard. She'd probably step in some water. Wouldn't be easy, but she can do it, but she is not doing it. And the Eight of Swords person has a problem that they need to solve for themselves, right? They can stand in their circle of swords and wait for someone to come and rescue them, but then they won't have learned the lesson of their own self-reliance, that they could have done it by themselves. And for this reason, I think this is a person that I would not want to be in a relationship with. I would not want to have to be their savior and then their lookout all the time. I don't want to be dependent on in that way. I can be dependent on for all kinds of things, but for your own well-being and for your comfort in your own life, that's something you gotta get yourself out of those swords yourself. And then maybe I'll meet you on the other side and we can talk about it. But until then, you gotta solve your own stuff and then come to me after that. So that's fun. I really like that tag. I'm a bit surprised it hasn't taken off a bit more, so we'll see. If you decide to participate, then feel free to throw the link in the comments. I'd love to watch your video and see what you think. Do you agree with my choices? Do you not? Let me know in the comments. So hope you enjoyed that, and we'll see you soon.